Back to Nasipi Summer, part of our team, of course, outside Parliament for you with those protests. Nasipi, good morning. We do expect protests ahead of a big speech in Parliament. What's the latest there?
Indeed, protest action, pickets, and handing over memorandums, something that one expects, particularly ahead of the budget speech, as we do know that many are anticipating to hear what Minister Enoch Godongwana has to say. And in an act of solidarity, a number of unions, including civic organizations and even residents, participating in this march to Parliament to picket ahead of that budget speech and to hand over a memorandum of demands. We heard this morning from Saftu as far as what exactly it is that they are demanding from government to attend to. But we are also joined by the Saftu Secretary General, who is Zwelinzima Vavi, who's going to be talking to us more about their act of solidarity when it comes to this particular march. So thank you so much for your time. But we are currently now marching to Parliament. Talk to us about how you're feeling and what it is that you want government to attend to.
Well, we have been marching almost every year for many, many years now. We are demanding a people's budget. We want a budget that focuses and prioritizes the interest of the most marginalized members of our society. We want jobs. We want an end to deindustrialization. We want an economy that is based on South Africa's interest, not an economy that is based on extraction of our minerals that get sent overseas to create jobs and to be beneficiated outside the country. We want a better education. We want a better health care. We want all of the vacancies in the public service to be filled. We want an end to the austerity program. We want an end to the budget cuts that goes across from local, provincial, and every area of service in government. We want a better life that we were promised from 1994. That's what we are about. Yeah. That's why we are watching today.
Do you have any faith that the government will be able to give the poor and working class what you are demanding?
The government has all of the instruments. We have called for the introduction of the wealth tax and the solidarity acts from the beginning. They are refusing to accede to that demand. They have instead cut the interest rates from around 52% during the apartheid. That used to serve the interest of a tiny minority. The corporate taxes are now sitting at 27%. They have employed a totally inappropriate monetary policy that ends up making the rich much more richer and the poor much more poor. As we speak, 1% of the population owns the wealth of 35 million South Africans. We want an end to those type of inequalities.
We can't ignore that we're going into the local government elections. We're seeing a number of people coming out protesting, calling on for government to attend to the cries of the poor and working class. Do you think that in any way should government not listen to these cries, that we might see a different outcome come the local government election?
Well, we are already a protest capital of the world. There are about 1,200 to 1,400 protest actions that take place in South Africa every year. And there's nowhere else in the world where such many protests does take place. Which points to the crisis that we are facing. We are facing a precipice. We are sitting on a time bomb that can explode anytime. And government better listen to the cries of the communities that continue to protest in the streets instead of listening to the guys that have turned our economy into a casino in the JSE.
We heard this morning from Saftu that should government not listen to this particular demands, that they will regroup and look at legal options to force government to attend to these demands that will be submitted today. Do you think that that is the way to go?
There's no other way. We need to broaden the frontiers of unity between the federations, but more importantly between the federations and other organs of people's power that are organizing the working class. We do need a general strike. And our hope is that the federations will be at one, that somewhere during March, when the minister presents the budget, that is accompanied by a general strike by South African workers.
How dire is the situation on the ground?
It's dire. I mean, you have to look at your own news bulletin today. There's a massacre in Biki, there's a massacre in Umtata, there's a massacre in Lusigisigi. The kids dying in Soweto and in Hammanskraal because of suspected food poisoning. There are 84 people who are dying every day because there are 12.3 million people who are idling. Who should be working, who are not working. That makes 43% of unemployment rate. And there's 70% of our young people who are unemployed. 49% of the people who are unemployed are black people. 7 out of 9 provinces have an unemployment rate of more than 40%. We are sitting on the worst crisis, and unfortunately, the budget that is being presented today is not talking to those issues.
How does government turn this dire situation, as you put it, around?
It's like the government is living in another continent, somewhere, some other planet. Is totally de-linked to the crisis that we are facing on the ground. We feel that more of the government leaders visiting the informal settlements here in Cape Town and elsewhere will hopefully open their ears and eyes. The problem now is that they are totally disconnected to what is happening on the ground. They only come back during the election time after 5 years. One day they will not be able to come back because already only 1/3 of the voting population is still voting in this country.
We'll have to leave it there. The march to Parliament for that picket continues. We heard now from the General Secretary of Saftu, who is Zwelinzima Vavi, saying that it does seem that government is currently out of touch with the reality or grassroots level, and is calling on government to go back to basics, listen to the demands and pleas of those people that are currently asking government to end or put a stop to the budget cuts and ensure that they create a more conducive environment to allow the economy to grow and also to create those much needed jobs.
Nasipi Sama, thank you very much indeed.